No, yellow line. Orange line's for direction this way.
No, I mean like at the orange line.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. But you got to have 0 on the yellow line.
Yeah,
now, you want to stand up. You don't want to do that. You want to stand up and clamp your leg.
Okay.
Straddle the line like you did the first time.
Okay.
And then clamp your left leg and hold 0 over the yellow. And watch that your pants or your leg aren't touching that line. You're going to have to use your left hand. What did we say? 27, 3 1/4?
Yep.
You good?
Good.
Remember when I said I had 40 hours of experience and my dad had 40 years of experience? Well, that's me learning how to properly hold a tape measure. Well, let's dig a hole. As you see here, our excavator has padded off the construction site. Our next move was to call a civil engineer to have the property surveyed, telling us exactly where the 4 corners of our houses are located and where our property's setback lines are. It's crazy to think that on a 3-acre lot, we would be this close to the setback lines, but the wetlands pushed our house location right to the edge. Also, something kind of special happened. One of the surveyors that we hired grew up in the house that we demolished in episode 2. It was kind of bittersweet to see how he reacted to the house not being there. He told us a handful of stories about how the property used to look and some old family stories. It's interesting. The memories that Amy and I hope to create here, him and his family already shared at this address. To see his past erased by us and then to help us literally lay out our future was something I didn't want to leave out of the story. Now that the corners are pinned by the survey team, Smitty and I set up these batter boards at each corner. Batter boards consist of 2 vertical pieces of wood and 1 horizontal. The reason we use batter boards is to provide a stable surface for the attachment of our string layout lines. The horizontal board at each corner are placed at the exact same height. They all need to be placed at the same height because even though the land is padded off, the grade across the span of the building fluctuates. So if one of the corners is 4 foot lower than one of the other batter boards, then the string line will not be level, therefore potentially affecting the required dimension of our dig.
Now this is where it's probably going to push you into the ground to get that height. We're not far off, Matt. Can you go down a little? Down 3/4. All right, up 1/2 inch. Oh, down half. Whoa, goddamn. Clamp it and mark it.
Now that the horizontal batter boards are all at the same height, we could pull the string line and mark with spray paint exactly where our excavator needs to dig. Here's a shot of the layout lines that the excavator will use to dig the hole for our foundation. Now that the lines are set, it's time to dig a hole. Alright, so we are here this morning about half a foot from the final depth of our foundation dig, and we got ourselves a good little problem here. We got wet areas throughout our foundation. We probably hit groundwater on our dig, and the water pushed up last night while we were resting. What this means to us is we need to either get lower and fill up that space with stones and fabric and space out our footers, or we're gonna have to see if we can raise the house a little bit to get the footers out of the groundwater. Pretty legitimate scare and snag here. But what we're gonna do is potentially involve an engineer and get a good answer on how we can get these footers in the ground here. So we'll see here. After some consideration, Smitty took a step back and made the call to dig the foundation a foot deeper. Digging a foot deeper would allow us to put a foot of number 4 ballstone in the foundation. Number 4 ballstone is a granite rock approximately 1 to 2.5 inches and is great for erosion control, drainage, and landscape stabilization. But this is going to take 2 working days to finish filling the base of our dig. Not only that, but a hefty cost for excavating labor and the amount of stone required to do the job. Well, we got some rain after starting the ballstone. This is not what you want to see at the bottom of your hole. But instead of overreacting and making poor decisions, we called a local engineer that Smitty has worked with in the past to ensure that our plan would suffice the current issues with our wet lot. He fully approved our approach, so we regrouped, pumped the water out of the hole, and finished with the stone. Our excavator did a great job ensuring that the number 4 ballstone was level for what we added next. The icing on the cake. We added 3 inches of 3/4 inch capstone. What this stone does is allow for a more walkable surface, a level and strong base to pour the footers for our foundation. It allows the water to travel freely under the basement slab. And lastly, the opportunity for all 3 of us to get a good night's sleep. Without the stone, the water could put an overwhelming amount of pressure upwards on the foundation. Our last step before getting ready to build the footer forms was install our crock. We installed the crock for our sump pump all the way under the 15 inches of stone. This is where the water under the foundation will collect. Once the water collects to a certain level, it is pumped out through a pipe directly to our storm basin. As you can tell with these losers, this is a short-term solution, but this house will have a sump pump forever. There is no doubt our dig brought some challenges, but we created a solution and handled the problem. This hole is ready for footers. Let's build a house.
Next time on Let's Build a House.
my finger on